Eärendil by J.R.R. Tolkien. Eärendil was a mariner that tarried in Arvernien. He built a boat of timber, felled in Nimbrethil to journey in. Her sails he wove of silver fair, of silver were her lanterns made. Her prow he fashioned like a swan, and light upon her banners laid. In panoply of ancient kings, in chained rings he armoured him. His shining shield was scored with runes, to ward all wounds and harm from him. His bow was made of dragon horn, his arrows shorn of ebony, of silver was his habergeon, his scabbard of chalcedony. His sword of steel was valiant, of adamant his helmet tall, an eagle plume upon his crest, upon his breast an emerald. Beneath the moon and under star he wandered far from northern strands, bewildered on enchanted ways beyond the days of mortal lands. From gnashing of the narrow ice where shadow lies on frozen hills, from nether heats and burning waste, he turned in haste, and roving still on starless waters far astray, at last he came to night of naught, and passed, and never sight he saw of shining shore nor light he sought. The winds of wrath came driving him, and blindly in the foam he fled, from west to east, and errandless unheralded he homeward sped. There flying Elwing came to him, and flame was in the darkness lit, more bright than light of diamond, the fire upon her carcanet. The Silmaril she bound on him, and crowned him with the living light, and dauntless then with burning brow he turned his prow, and in the night, from other world beyond the sea, there strong and free a storm arose, a wind of power in Tarmanel, by paths that seldom mortal goes. His boat it bore with biting breath, as might of death across the grey, and long-forsaken seas distressed, from east to west he passed away. Through Evernight he back was borne, on black and roaring waves that ran o'er leagues unlit and foundered shores that drowned before the days began, until he heard on strands of pearl, where ends the world, the music long, where ever-foaming billows roll, the yellow gold and jewels won. He saw the mountain silent rise, where twilight lies upon the knees of Valinor, and Eldamar beheld afar beyond the seas. A wanderer escaped from night, to haven white he came at last, to Elvenhome, the green and fair, where keen the air, where pale as glass, beneath the hill of Ilmarin, a glimmer in a valley sheer, the lamplit towers of Tirion are mirrored on the shadow mere. He tarried there from errantry, and melodies they taught to him, and sages old him marvels told, and harps of gold they brought to him. They clothed him then in elven white, and 7 lights before him sent, as through the Calasirian to hidden land forlorn he went. He came unto the timeless halls where shining fall the countless years, and endless reigns the elder king in Ilmarin on mountain sheer. And words unheard were spoken then, of folk of men and elven kin, beyond the world where visions showed, forbid to those that dwell therein. A ship then new they built for him, of mithril and of elven glass, with shining prow, no shaven oar, nor sail she bore on silver mast. The Silmaril, as lantern light and banner bright with living flame, to gleam thereon by Elbereth herself was set who thither came, and wings immortal made for him, and laid on him undying doom, to sail the shoreless skies and come behind the sun and light of moon. From Evereven's lofty hills, where softly silver fountains fall, his wings him bore a wandering light beyond the mighty mountain wall. From world's end then he turned away, and yearned again to find afar his home through shadows journeying, and burning as an island star. On high above the mists he came, a distant flame before the sun, a wonder ere the waking dawn, where grey the Norland's waters run. And over Middle-earth he passed, and heard at last the weeping sore of women and of elven maids in elder days, in years of yore. But on him mighty doom was laid, till moon should fade and orbed star, to pass and tarry nevermore on hither shores where mortals are, forever still a herald on an errand that should never rest, to bear his shining lamp afar, the flammifer of Westernesse. This is the longest poem of all the 61 poems in The Lord of the Rings. Yet it's one of the more readable ones, aided by clear language and thoughtfully crafted, though complex, metrical rhythm. The meter is very interesting. Tolkien uses quatrains with a non-standard rhyming scheme. He does this in another poem, Eärendil, which also conveys a sense of adventure. Eärendil was allegedly inspired by the patter song "I Am the Very Model of a Modern Major General" from Gilbert and Sullivan. According to the Tolkien scholar Paul Kocher, Eärendil and Eärendil were designed to be polar opposites in tone while keeping the same meter. Eärendil is a whimsical jest, while the poem we have just heard was to be a tragedy. The two poems have a great deal of similarity in language, as well as recycling a few rhymes from one to the other and holding the same rhythm. This meter is medieval in origin, derived from that of the English poem Pearl, written in the late 14th century. Tolkien not only read Pearl, he produced a translation in modern English of the full 101 verses. I was going to put it in this series, but the editor revolted. The rhyming structures in this poem are very intricate and accomplished, systematically rhyming words like melodies with errantry or billows roll with yellow gold, incorporating two rhyming patterns into each quatrain, and doing all of this while preserving a natural flow of language is remarkable. Again, we see Tolkien writing a sophisticated, medieval-inspired ballad which tells a complete story rather than simply expressing an emotion or mood. In The Lord of the Rings, Eärendil is the father of Elrond, the master of the last homely house at Rivendell. By telling Eärendil's story in this manner, he introduces some deeper lore into The Lord of the Rings. Later in the novel, Sam receives a phial of starlight from the Lady Galadriel in Lothlorien, which he ultimately uses to battle the giant spider Shelob. It is Eärendil's light that is contained within, coming from the Silmaril gemstone granted him by Elwing, by which the Silmarillion derives its name.